I'm the Lights, and it is my genuine pleasure to welcome you to Prophecy. Prophecy was the third dungeon released in Destiny 2, coming out June 9th, 2020, alongside the Season of Arrivals, the final season of Shadowkeep, and subsequently, the season immediately preceding Bungie's release of the Beyond Light expansion. Prophecy, to me, does the best job of capturing the expansive environments that draw me to the dungeons that preceded it, Pit of Heresy and Shattered Throne, as well as the more engaging, involved, and structured encounters in the dungeons that would follow, Grasp of Avarice and Duality. It fits directly in the middle of the five in terms of both difficulty as a fire team and solo as well, making it the just right porridge, if you will. But now down to business. How do you beat this thing? If you're like me, and you're doing it by yourself because you have no friends, you can play Void Hunter and just be invisible all the time to hide from your problems. You can play Void Warlock, so you heal to full health every time you kill something. Or you can play Solar Titan, so you never die and do 1 billion damage to everything while you run around showing everyone your Bob the Builder impression. If you do have friends, or you both have no friends and hate yourself, the previous recommendations are still good, but you can pretty much play whatever you want. When you load into Prophecy, you're gonna get sucked into this thingy, where you'll be greeted by what I'd call an intro encounter to introduce you to the main mechanic of the dungeon. So listen up, because it stays exactly the same the whole time. So we got bowls with stuff coming out of them. You've got Taken Knights, and if you kill a Taken Knight, we've got moats. So now these moats and these bowls come in two different varieties. Dark moats or light moats, and bowls with dark stuff or bowls with light stuff. As you can probably guess, we put the light moats in the light bowl, and we put the dark moats in the dark bowl. Now, you might have some thoughts like, alright, so we just kill knights and put the moats in the bowl, or maybe this sounds like Gambit. And both of those things are true. There's more you should know, though. First, how to get the Taken Knights to drop the type of moat that you need. So each knight drops 3 moats, right, when you kill it. The color of the 3 moats that the knight drops is dictated entirely by where the person who dealt the killing blow was standing when the knight dies. So, if you need to make light moats, you stand in the light when you kill the knight. Just a bright part of the arena, nothing cryptic here. If you need to make dark moats, you just stand in a shadowy part of the room and kill the knight. You'll know for sure which of the 2 different areas you're standing in from the goo on the edges of your screen. Second thing, moats won't just sit on the ground forever, so don't just leave them sitting there. Third, when you pick up a moat, you'll get a timer on your screen, and if that timer runs out, you lose your moats. You don't die or anything, but your moats are gone. It is refreshed every time you pick up a moat, though. Fourth, you can't carry 2 types of moats at once. So like if you're running around with 3 light moats and you walk over 1 little dark moat, you're going to lose all 3 of your light moats that you had and just have the 1 dark one on you. So do 1 type at a time. Once you get 5 of 1 type of moat, which means 2 night kills, because each of them drop 3, Bungo takes away your guns and you just get to run around with a moat instead. This is the point when you're going to run over to a bowl that matches whatever type of moats you got, stand in it, and hit whatever input you use to shoot a gun. So like left click on PC, for example, then you'll do this little wapa thing, and then the bowl doesn't have stuff coming out of it anymore. So now that you're an expert, you dunk on 2 bowls to open a door. Then you dunk on 2 more bowls and open another door. And then you follow this guy up some rocks and get to the actual first encounter. Or alternatively, you could just do this, whatever this is. So now for the actual first encounter. This guy, Phalanx Echo. Yep, he's a boss, and you're gonna kill him. There are 2 things I want you to notice first here. Number 1, the boss is immune. And number 2, bowls. You dunk in all the bowls, which drops the boss's shield, and then you wail on him. That's really it. Knights will spawn periodically for you to get moats off of to put in the bowls. There's also going to be a lot of Taken Scions that spawn around, and those things reproduce like Catholic rabbits, so you'll want to keep those under control. Another thing that's good to know is after you dunk on all the bowls and start damage, you'll get a bit of uninterrupted roasting of the boss, and then these asshole Taken goblins will spawn and give the boss an immune shield, so you'll have to stop damage for a second and take them out. The shields the goblins give are green, and the shield the boss gets from the mechanic is white. So if the boss goes immune, and he's got a green shield on, just know that damage isn't over yet. You just gotta go kill a goblin to get that shield down. Damage will actually end when that white shield comes back. At which point, you'll just kill knights and dunk on bulls again. A final thing to be wary of is the boss's main boot move, where he'll yeet you off the arena to your death. Best way to deal with this is if you ever get booped, just whip out to a sword real quick and swipe to kill your momentum. It's a pretty quick twitch reaction, so you might get booped a few times before you remember in time. But you'll get there. I believe in you. All this is to say, you should run a sword here. Lament brings fantastic damage and is, of course, a sword, and subsequently can save you from being a tick mark on Phalanx Echo's career home runs.
Home run!
But yeah, that's it. Easy peasy. Just the same moat nonsense you learned in the intro, just applied to a boss here. After Phalanx Echo is in the dirt, you're going to get all up in the purple lights going on in the middle of the arena, which will induce the first of many instances in the dungeon where trippy things happen to your screen, and you'll enter the Wasteland for the first time. Wasteland is a big, sandy, open area, and you can pull out your sparrow here. So yeah, do that. Just watch out for the big invisible minotaurs that roam around this place. There's no need to kill them at all. They're just here to be annoying. What you're looking for is a set of 3 taken blights that are all kind of clustered together. Go find them, and then shoot them until they go away. Once you've killed all 3, take note of this little bright white light sprite thing. For those of you who aren't woke, we in the biz call this guy Toland, and I'll be calling him Toland for the rest of the video. Toland is going to be your in-game guide, so to speak, for the next 2 encounters. Once you destroy the last taken blight out of the 3 in your immediate vicinity, you're going to walk over to Toland, and he'll bolt off in the general direction of another set of 3 blights. You destroy them, walk over to Toland, he'll dash off toward a final set of taken blights. And when you trigger Toland that time, he's going to bolt off towards this big box and then park himself right at the front door. Go through the door for another psychedelic trip, and then we'll get into the next encounter. This encounter is called Hexahedron, where you make the cube you're inside and spin around a bunch. 2 things to notice immediately. Number 1, Toland. Number 2, bowls. More specifically, there's 1 bowl in front of each of the 4 sides of the room. Which leads me to the next thing you'll need to take note of, which are the lightly colored circles on each of the walls above the bowls. Encounter triggers when you walk near Toland, and he'll then appear at the center of one of those lightly colored circles. You're going to dunk on the bowl underneath Toland. And after that's done, stuff pops up in the middle, which will beam you up and make the cube flip around. Then you'll find Toland again, dunk on wherever he is again, and repeat this whole process a few times. You might run into an instance where Toland isn't on any of the walls. If this happens, you can just dunk on whatever bowl you feel like. There is 1 extra step to getting motes in this encounter as well. You'll need to kill the taken hobgoblins on the upper ledges to trigger night spawns. After you get beamed up for the last time, 2 mini-bosses are going to spawn in. Emphasis on mini, these guys are total wimps, and once they're dealt with, encounter over. Easy as that. For loadouts here, you really only need ad clear since we just established that the mini-bosses are made of paper. Just maybe bring a little extra range to snag the hobgoblins from where you're at. Now that that's out of the way, we are in the home stretch. Step 1 is going to be get out of Hexahedron, because I don't know about you, but I'm a puke if this room flips over one more time. When you get out and back into the Wasteland, this guy's back. Follow him over here, and then go in this door. And we're gonna make our way into the coolest area in the whole game. Maybe the coolest area in any game. Maybe the coolest area ever. But yeah, it's really rad. You gotta experience this for yourself. I'll just tell you that you gotta get to the bottom, so get after it. And now, in just a few short moments, we'll be faced with the Prophecy Dungeon's final boss encounter. The final boss in question is that big taken captain we've been following around up until this point. And so now here's the first of 2 boss rooms. Again, I want you to notice 3 things. Number 1, Toland. No, just kidding. Toland doesn't actually matter. 2 things. Number 1, as soon as you start the encounter, there's going to be a copy of the boss in each corner of this triangular room. 2nd, bowls. When you dunk on a bowl, the copy of the boss behind the bowl will despawn. But a taken ogre will spawn right behind the bowl instead. Save your heavy and stuff for the boss, but do kill these ogres quick. They're really annoying. After you've dunked on all 3 bulls and all 3 bosses have been despawned, there will be purple stuff in the middle, which thus far we've learned to be a good thing. So get on up in there and you're gonna get sucked into the damage phase, which takes place in this long hallway sort of thing with platforms that you gotta jump between. This damage phase is sort of a chase encounter, all while you're constantly laying damage into the boss. As soon as you're in here, you're given a debuff called Dark Entropy. If you get to 10 stacks of Dark Entropy for Dark Entropy times 10, you die. You keep these stacks down by standing within this white aura around the boss. You won't accumulate any Dark Entropy stacks while you're within this aura, and any stacks you had will fall off. The boss will periodically teleport further and further down the series of platforms as the damage phase progresses, meaning you need to chase him down to keep close to him so your entropy stacks don't get too high. A final added element here is the boss will periodically do this attack where he takes a big wind-up and throws a big oval at you. If you get hit by it, you get teleported back pretty far and will have to bust a move to get back into his sea bear circle, so don't get hit by it. Linear fusion rifles are going to be your go-to here since the boss has a massive head and a hefty crit multiplier. Anything close range like swords or shotguns is going to be a no-no because the boss has a stomp move that'll bop you off of whatever you're standing on to your death or just kill you outright. If you get to the end of the room and the boss flies away before he dies, you'll hop back in the other more different purple goo and you'll be back in the triangle room to repeat the process for another damage phase. And you'll just keep doing that until Kell Echo hits the dirt. And that's Prophecy, lads and lasses. Prophecy is my favorite dungeon in Destiny currently, and I really do encourage you to get in there and give it a try for yourself. It's a ton of fun. The same way that I encourage you to like the video, comment on the video, and maybe even, just maybe, subscribe to the lights here on YouTube. At the end of the day, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.